We're a private organization that has been around a long time, a very long time. We don't operate for profit, but we're extremely well funded. We have offices, which we call mother houses, in New York, London, Paris, Rome, Amsterdam, Hong Kong, and New Orleans.
And what do you do in all these other houses?
Primarily endeavors of academia and discovery.
You're a think tank.
In a way, yes, and another, no. We chronicle historical notes and keep tabs on certain groups.
So you're a spy.
No, well, not exactly.
But you're a nonprofit and you're offering more than cabin.
We'll never run short of funds. Anyone working with us has everything in their life taken care of.
CIA, MI6.
No.
Yeah, Blackwater.
We attempt to do good by protecting the equilibrium of society.
Soros, Koch brothers.
Talamasca, which in Latin means
Animal mask. Oh, who's in charge of branding? Okay, endeavors of academia.
Good evening, Adrenal Heads. I'm Lara.
And I'm Billie with an IE.
And today we are covering episode 1 of season 1 of Anne Rice's Talamasca, The Secret Order. And this episode was entitled We Watch and We Are Always There. We were always there, we are always there, and we will always be there. On this episode, we are bringing in a special guest host. Welcome, Sam, to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and so honored and a little nervous because you two are rock stars and I was completely obsessed with your coverage of Interview with the Vampire. I would listen every week and just wait for the episode to drop. So I'm super excited to join you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm glad you could join us because you left some really great rock star commentary on Interview with the Vampire yourself. And I know you love the series as much as we do.
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Okay, so hey, Billie, do you want to give us the synopsis on this episode?
Don't mind if I do. A new young recruit joins a supernatural spy organization, the Talamasca, forcing him to choose between his past and his new covert life. Helen, head of New York Talamasca Mother House, faces challenges with the London Mother House.
Nice, short, sweet, but we'll get into the rest in this episode. So, brand new series from AMC in the Anne Rice Immortal Universe, obviously. And here are some of the people who will be seeing this season in the show. The first one, the lead actor, is Nicholas Denton. I've never really met or seen this guy in anything. He plays our lead role of Guy Anatole. And he's an Australian actor, apparently, just like our beloved Sam Reed. The only thing that I saw of note on IMDb was an Australian version of Dangerous Liaisons, which was a series. Have you guys seen him in anything?
He's brand new to me. Never seen him.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Who else do we have there, Billie?
We have Elizabeth McGovern, who plays Helen. I love her to death. I love her. I loved her especially in Downton Abbey. Who she plays the American mother, who I thought that was very interesting. That her
matriarch of the family.
Yeah. She's having a baby in Ordinary People.
Yeah, I remember her from way back in the 80s when she was in Ordinary People, and she's having a baby. I think she has a pretty long filmography, but like you, I only kind of really know her from Downton Abbey and then the movies she did back in the 80s.
Yeah. And then we have William Fitchner, who plays Jasper. He was previously seen in The Perfect Storm, Armageddon, and the TV series Mom. He's another one who's had a long list of credits to his name.
Yeah, I like him. I've never seen him before in anything. I'm sure I've seen him in some of those other movies. I didn't clock him as someone. His face looks familiar.
He's very
and last of all,
actor.
yeah, I think I'm excited to see more of him in this season. This one I think is a maybe guest star appearance, but he's the probably most recognizable name on this list for this season is Jason Schwartzman playing the role of Burton. If you're a big Wes Anderson fan like I am, you know a lot of his movies like Rushmore, Moonrise Kingdom, and The Darjeeling Express. He also plays the evil villain in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I love him. I find him terribly handsome.
Yes.
Same,
I love a
especially in this
dark-haired man.
role.
Yeah.
Especially in this role.
He's got nerdy chic for sure.
Yeah.
Nerdy chic.
I love it. Hashtag nerdy chic.
Right.
All right. Well, the first thing we're going to hit is our initial thoughts of this episode. And since Sam, you are our guest, please go ahead and go first.
Thank you. I'm intrigued by the series. I think that's like my motto for it so far. For me, it falls closer to Interview with the Vampire than Mayfair. Thank goodness. The cast is magnetic. Their interactions with everyone really draws me into what's going on in the scene. The writing is decent. It has its good moments. The story absolutely pulls me in. When I watched the opening scene, I wanted to know more. Who is this Talamasca agent? Why did she sacrifice herself? What are those monsters? Who is this vampire who controls these monsters? So I thought they did a good job of pulling viewers in at the opening scene. And Guy is relatable and sympathetic, which is hard to cultivate that on a pilot. And I found Nicholas Denton did a good job for me to pull me into his character. The spy versus spy component is very smart. I've always viewed the Talamasca as closer to spies than benevolent watchers, at least in the book series. They tended to have that undertone of having other priorities and other agendas when they interacted with our characters. So I like to see that come to screen on here. I thought they're doing a pretty good job.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're liking it. It's awesome. What do you think, Billie?
Well, as a avid Anne Rice reader fan, I love that there's a piece of media dedicated explicitly to the Talamasca. Of all the things she's invented in her writing, the secret society that monitors the supernatural was genius, in my opinion. We get some more information about them in the last few published books, but we never get very many instances of like day-to-day operations with them. We get a look-see in Merrick of some of it, but it's more focused on her and her interaction with the immortals and less about what it is to be a Talamasca operative. But I think it would have been really cool if there was a book dedicated to a Talamasca operative who wasn't turned into an immortal and stayed, alive. When I was told this show would be an original story, I was actually excited. Unlike the Mayfair Witches, I have nothing to compare it to, so they could do whatever they want with this story, and I will not be upset because it's a new story. As long as it stays true to some of the more established Immortal Universe or Anne Rice rules, I guess, then there's nothing that can disappoint me about this show, except for maybe a rushed ending or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad that we don't have those standards to compare it to.
Yeah.
We've just got a few hints here and there from Anne's writings.
And me and you have been so terribly critical of the Mayfair Witches, but for good reason. So
Same.
Yeah. I even tried to review it as just a show, and even just as a show, I didn't care for it.
Yeah, agreed.
I give you guys credit for that. I mean, I bowed out of Mayfair Witches in season 1, and you guys were so great and stuck with it. I was very impressed because I couldn't. It was like Fear the Walking Dead. It was horrendous. I really couldn't sit with it. So you guys did a wonderful job covering that.
It was
There's
painful
such a
to
thing
watch.
as hate watching where you just
Yeah.
have to it's like a train wreck. You can't turn away.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of, you get to a point where it's just like you're enraged while you're watching it. And you're like, are you seriously going this way with this? Like, why are
I
you so
audibly
lazy?
yelled at my TV many times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And just to set the tone in case anyone's new to Adrenaline Cinema Podcast and our Immortal Universe coverage, Billie is a huge Anne Rice fan, has read the books for many, many years, and came on with us partway through season 2 of Interview with the Vampire, and I read the initial Interview with a Vampire as a young teenager, and it didn't hit with me. But later in life, I read The Mayfair Witches, so I came in through Mayfair Witches, and I'm actually going back through her catalog of Vampire Chronicles and reading those, and so I'm
Wow.
partially through them. So Billie is more of our vampire pro here, our
Yes.
vampire
Wikipedia.
yes.
Scholar, I guess.
Yeah.
There you go,
And
vampire scholar.
I know more about, yes, he is our vampire Talamasca agent. I am our
There you
witch agent.
I love
And
that. I
and
love
Sam, how
that.
much have you covered with Anne Rice and her universe?
I'm way below you guys. I especially Billy. I've read all the books except for the most recent ones. I started reading when I was a teenager, and I'm so happy with the TV series because when I read it, I always thought Louis and Lestat were romantic lovers. And so, like, to see the movie and be just confused about what was going on, and watching the TV series, it really helped fill in a lot for me and even elevate Anne Rice's work. But she's a lot of the reasons I went to New Orleans for the first time. I love New Orleans. Yeah, I'm familiar with it because I'm also a giant nerd, so I go down rabbit holes. But I'm nowhere near as an expert as you guys are. But I,
And
I I am a psychologist, so I guess I would be more of the telepath characters, the mind
yeah,
readers.
get into the minds of these characters for real. Well, I'll give my quick final thought or initial thought too. And I liked it. I wasn't super wowed by it, but
Mhm.
this is just the first episode. So it's a table setting episode. I wasn't as wowed as I was like with Interview with the Vampire. When I saw that first episode, I was blown away by it because
Mhm.
it was just so well written, so well acted. And it really like it aimed for the fences and went way over. So yeah, that one just blew me away. The first episode of the Mayfair Witches, which I was so looking forward to as someone who had read the whole series, really disappointed me with really bad CGI,
Mhm.
Harry Potter
kind of
esque.
sticking to the
Oh, the writing
plot, but
too.
not really bad casting. So we won't talk about that.
There's like
But
one person who loves the Mayfair Witches and is so upset right now.
there are really people who like it, and I think there are mostly people who haven't read the books, and
Yeah.
you will find an occasional person who's read the books who like it, but it just wasn't for me. And with this, I'm not a spy movie or TV show kind of gal. They usually don't resonate with me, and I'm not really into police procedurals either. I kind of have a one track mind. I love supernatural things, but I did back in the day absolutely love the X-Files. I saw them when they first came out, and
Yes.
this is giving me a little bit of an X-Files feel to it. So yeah, I'm down with that. And I'll say I'm already up to episode 4 now, and it gets really good. So I'm thinking it's going to be really good by the end. I really like the characters of Helen and Jasper. They're both
Mhm.
mysterious and intriguing. I like the concept of the revenants because that's come
Mhm.
over from Interview with the Vampire. We got to see the
Yes.
one revenant in Eastern Europe. So it's
Mhm.
something that they've already established in the universe, and I'm glad that they're using them here. And I'm a little on the fence with Guy. He's a bit of a cinnamon roll. He's kind of
He
sweet and
totally is.
cuddly, but I can't see him as a real tough guy right now. So
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for him to wise up a bit. He's kind of naive in the beginning, but I think we can get there with him. I feel like he has to start off naive and inexperienced. I mean, he is, you know, a new cadet right now. So. And the only thing that took me out of the episode was Jason Schwartzman, because as much as I like him, he was way too familiar, and he came in as Burton, and he didn't feel like the character of Burton to me. He felt like this is what would have happened if Jason Schwartzman got turned into a vampire. And he's just hanging out at this hotel in New York City. I forget the name of the hotel. It's a really well-known hotel. It's where
Yeah.
John Lennon was shot,
Oh,
and I can't remember
I
the name
can't
of
remember
it.
either. Do you know it, Billy? I
I don't. I wasn't
blank.
kind of intrigued by the fact that he had to get permission to stay there.
Yes,
But
and
that's
Yoko
what.
Ono vouched for him.
Yeah, I was like, huh? That's why I was confused. Like, that sounds like something that would be in like maybe a condominium or something like that, not
Yes.
a suite or
The
what is it, a
Dakota.
penthouse.
Sorry,
The
Yeah.
sorry,
Dakota.
I
Oh,
just googled it. The
that's my
Dakota.
grandson name. I should know what that is.
Oh,
But
yeah.
okay. Yeah,
I just
it
want to.
just felt weird. I'm just like I keep seeing his character in Rushmore. And I think that scene would have had, I don't know, it would have not taken. I liked him. He played a great vampire. Like, I felt like he had the sass and the attitude of a vampire. It was Jason Schwartzman. It was weird.
I have like a tinfoil hat theory on this. So I just want to validate how you're feeling, Laura, because I was trying to figure out like how the show, even though I'm really enjoying it, I look forward to it, why it does feel so different than Interview with the Vampire. Because I'm with you. That series had me at like 10 minutes into the episode. And I think because it's told from the point of view of Louis, and Louis is an artist. He's a creative. He's a romantic. So at least, especially the season 1 of Interview is very much almost like a gothic romance.
Mhm.
And so it does pull in people who like that, and it's so nuanced like that. Like, you're rooting for this conflictual love story, whereas a Talamasca is definitely spy thriller, supernatural, but definitely
Mhm.
spy thriller. So I just want to validate, like, yeah, that they are two completely different tones, and I enjoy spy thrillers. They're not as engaging as like gothic romances, at least for me. It's a little bit more watching for entertainment than connecting as much to the characters for me.
That's an interesting point, and I think that might say something about the Mayfair Witches because their vibe was supposed to be gothic, and they got more urban fantasy, and that's probably my biggest beef with it.
Mhm.
Because, like you said, Interview with the Vampire deviates immensely from the source material,
Yes.
but it feels like a vampire show. It
Mhm.
feels like a gothic story. Now, had Mayfair Witches established that and achieved that, that would probably be a whole different conversation, but they didn't. It feels like urban fantasy, very like Charmed meets supernatural.
Yeah, that's
Mm,
great. Yeah, that
I agree
absolutely,
with you,
that nailed
Billie.
it. And they failed both.
I think the thing about Interview also for me was like immediately the dialogue felt to me like somebody you could be walking along the street and
Mhm.
hearing some of that talk. I mean, it was definitely period
Mhm.
centric, but it was like there was some vulgar ass dialogue in that first episode, but I'm like, this
Mhm.
sounds real, and sometimes it's very poetic and but it
Yes.
doesn't
Mhm.
sound scripted, which is some of the problems I have with TV that I feel is just like uh this is just generated TV because it feels very scripted and kind of predictable and kind of like this is what you hear on every
Mhm.
single other series, where the dialogue in Interview was
Mhm.
so unique and so flowery and dark and sometimes
I
very
think
inappropriate, you know?
the
Like,
Yes.
what
so
you're
well done.
referring to with the scripted are what writers call sans affairs, which are basically scenes in a piece of writing that are not earned. They're just put in there because you have no other
Oh,
thing to put there. The feelings aren't earned, there's no build
Mhm.
up, it's cliched usually. And
yeah.
sometimes cliches are helpful, sometimes cliches always hit the mark. But when it comes to Sans Affairs, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be there. The characters aren't supposed to be doing that or saying that.
Mm.
But it's like,
That's
Or they're
right,
giving exposition trying to
right, exactly.
disguise it in dialogue.
that's so cool. I didn't know there was a term for it. That's so cool. Yeah, that nails it 100%. And that's what didn't land with me for the show.
But I'm still enjoying the characters and the action in this. And, even if it's not if it doesn't make me go over the moon like Interview did, as long as
Mhm.
it's still entertaining and interesting, I'll keep with it and, keep supporting
Yeah,
Anne
Yes.
Rice's
exactly.
universe.
Definitely that.
So now we're going to move on to some major points within the episode. We can just bring up points, and if it sounds like something we want to expand upon or discuss a little bit more, we'll just jump in with those thoughts
Awesome.
as we go along. Would you like
Sure.
to go ahead, Sam?
It's not really hinted at. It's only hinted at, I should say, in the first episode. but the Jasper storyline intrigued me. Like, I think that was such a powerful pull-in and a smart move by the creatives of the show. It's giving us a familiar figure, vampires, which we're watching the show for the vampires, and we will find out more. I still want to know more than even what I've seen so far. Those revenants are creepy. They just chasing her to. Oh, what did you guys think of when you first saw the revenants?
I was fascinated by it because I mean she only talks about a Revenant once and through the whole
Mhm.
series. So I love how someone took that little bit and was like, we could do something with this and created this whole story where this vampire is creating these mindless drones with his blood. And so I like that. I
Mhm.
like that a lot.
I like how it was shot too. I like that you only
Mhm.
see them in shadow because, implied fear is almost more frightening than
Yes.
actual fear on screen. So I really liked that they were just running in shadow until you see them at the end and they're still like steeped in shadow,
Yeah.
growling and everything. So I thought that was a good start for the show and the
I also
introduction of the
like
Absolutely.
the
revenants.
fact that unlike the vampires who they don't scare you really.
Mhm.
But the Revenants, because of their jerky movements and their kind of mindlessness, they are frightening. They scare you,
Yes.
and I
That's a
like that
good point.
addition.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because you're so right, 'cause we're so used to the vampires by now. We see them as complex creatures, not just the monsters of myth. And this reintroduces that fear, because who did that for me? I was like, oh, zombie vampires. I don't like it.
Yeah, I kind of like that they've expanded on this in Anne's universe because, as you know, Billy, when we talked about Nosferatu, there's different types of vampires. There's your beautiful, sophisticated, aristocratic vampires, and then there's the ones that are putrid and disintegrating like Nosferatu. And those are the ones who come from like old Eastern European mythology and folklore and everything. And I'm like, I love that they're bringing that into this story as almost a separate
It makes
race
me
of
think
vampire.
of I can't remember his name, but he's the creator of 30 Days of Night. It started out as a comic book and then they eventually turned it into a movie and then some
Mhm.
subsequent films. But the guy who did it basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, that he wanted to bring the scary back in vampires. So when he
Mm.
created his vampires, the 30 Days of Night vampires, he wanted them to be horrifying. He wanted them to be kind of savage and not the Western noble vampire with the castle and the hundreds of years of memory. So I like that they're adding that element into the show and into the
Mhm.
immortal universe because I think I feel like it's hinted at in the books, but no one really explores those kinds of vampires in the series. I know that she mentions nomads and wanderers and stuff like that who don't live by the same rules, and we get a hint of it with Gabrielle, sorry. And but we don't really see a savage
Mm.
vampire.
Yeah.
She even says that when they
Hmm.
drink blood, they don't even spill a
Yes.
drop. So whenever we see blood on their clothing or whatever in the
Hmm.
TV shows, it's like that's not accurate.
Yeah.
But
They were messy tonight.
Yeah, but
right.
that's what we want to see.
Right,
We want
exactly.
vampire
But yes,
blood.
I think it's refreshing that they're adding Revenants into the series.
It just makes me laugh because Anne Rice is a
Really?
mom. And so she's like, you know what? I want to create a creature that will eat and not spill a drop. Like, I see you, girl.
Did you have something else you want
Sure.
me and Billy to
Do
pop
you
in?
guys typically like switch off or different points or
You just kind of free form it, whatever if you have something you want to talk about, we'll pop in our thoughts or we can move to the next
sounds good.
one if
Well,
you
we can
want.
talk about Guy. I think he's a character that really kind of sticks out for all of us. He's our protagonist. What I like about him is that he is young, and exactly like you said, Lara, he is naive. He doesn't really understand the human world, let alone the supernatural one. And we see what it would be like for someone who didn't believe in this stuff start to learn it. I liked the twist on it that his telepathy is a negative for him, that it hurts. And I like that that's not something he welcomes and uses all the time. He uses it and it causes him pain. He takes
Hmm.
medication. He feels very guilty about it. So I'm curious to see as he comes into his powers what this will look like. 'Cause we see later vampires have that. And one of the things that really endeared me to his character, and I think this was done on purpose, is that when he saw his foster mom, she said to him, "You were not an easy child." Oof, that got to me. It was like, "Hey, lady, like you were his mother figure. Like, don't say that. That's mean. Keep the inside part
Yes.
inside. Don't tell your kid that they weren't an easy child." That's so cruel, and I just sort of that endeared me to his character as just like this lost person, and he's been lost for a very long time. So those are the key points that stood out to me. What about you guys?
Yeah, I found his foster mom kind of interesting. Like, I wonder, did she take him because she wanted a foster child, or did she take him because the Talamasca offered her, an offer she couldn't
Yeah.
refuse, basically? Did they offer to pay for a bunch of their stuff and give her lots of promises, like to give her a nice condo on the beach in Florida and pay it off? It makes me wonder. I mean, I'm sure
Mhm.
she cared for
Mhm.
him as best as she could, but did she
That's
really
a
want him?
good point, because she's afraid. She's afraid to admit this stuff to Guy in that scene. It's like, if you had a good dynamic with them, why would you be afraid? Yeah.
Mm. Or maybe just raising him over all those years with the
Mm.
Talamasca shadow behind her is
Yeah, that's
what
a good
Or
soured
point.
her on it.
because
I
she
don't
was
know.
doing it because the Talamasca had basically hired her to do it. She wasn't feeling very
Ooh.
motherly, and it was just more like a
Oh.
nanny, right. It was a
Mhm.
job.
It
It
was a
was like a
job.
nanny role. She was like a governess,
Mm,
and she was playing
Yeah.
a governess role for a child who thought that was his mother. And so when she said you were a tough child, maybe she wasn't
hmm
talking as a mother. She was talking as an employee of the Talamasca.
Oh, that's a great point. That makes more sense too, because yeah, she didn't really act maternal towards him. She was very standoffish and
hmm
trying. I mean, she cares, but not at all invested. She didn't even know that he was done with grad school, like law school. She's like, "It was college." And I'm like, "How long has it been since you talked to
mm.
this kid?" Like 7 years?
Yeah, good point. Good point. I have to say, when I hear Guy, all I can think of is Galaxy Quest and the character of
It
Guy.
is such a name.
My favorite line from that movie is like, let's get out of
Yeah.
here before they kill Guy.
That could be his motto.
And if you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, it's hilarious because there's a character named Guy, and he's just named Guy because he doesn't really have a character in the movie. They
I
just call him
know.
Guy. I'm like, it's an odd name
Yeah,
to give a
it
character.
is.
But the same thing. I just think he's kind of doing stupid
Mhm.
stuff, but I mean, not always. He did really well at his interview at the law firm because he could tell like they didn't want some spineless guy who is just going to give up and not fight for this position. So he turned around and gave them what they wanted, which is a case where his powers in, came into play and was
Yeah.
a useful thing for him. But yeah, I with the other characters, he's kind of
Mhm.
generic for me right now. So I would like to see how he grows through this episode
Yeah.
and the next few.
Absolutely. He's definitely fresh in this episode, and I like the twist where he thinks he's a cynical person, but really he's actually like a warm marshmallow, like on the inside. Like you said, it's a cinnamon roll. Like, oh, you're
Yes.
trying to be rough, and it's just not working. You actually believe in the good. So yeah, all of his interactions with the other cast are fantastic, and he is it's like that scene with Burton when he says to Helen, he's like, "You know you're gonna get that poor boy killed." Yeah, because he doesn't have any guile. Like, he doesn't have the ability to play this game, which is
hmm
just sending in a sacrificial lamb.
My mind keeps making puns every time you guys talk about him because you called him a spineless guy, and I was like, he needs to be a strong guy. And then you said he has no guile, and I was like, oh.
Boom, boom. I didn't even do
Yeah.
that on purpose. Yeah, that is a weird name. No offense to anyone named Guy, but I do think Guy Anatole is a wild name for
Yeah.
this character we're supposed to be attached to.
I think, well, because in French, the name Guillaume can be shortened to Guy, which means guy.
Oh,
I was gonna say we could just call
Right.
him by
yeah.
Guy, the
Yeah. And
French
Anatole might be
pronunciation.
short for Anatolia, which might be integral to the story. I don't know.
Hmm.
But that's kind of
Mm-hmm. And that's his
Yeah.
foster
Yeah,
parents'
mhm.
name, right?
Anna Loomis is his mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he took his.
that is
Mhm.
correct.
Did you guys go into the? Wait, never mind. Is that okay? I'm sorry if I get the wrong episode, but is it this episode? It's this
Yes,
episode
yes.
that Daniel Malloy's in, right? And he tells
Yes.
them about the page
Yes,
where his mother's
absolutely.
name is. I did not go back to the novel to see if that
No.
name
I
is in the
don't
novel
She
or
is an
not.
original character.
Ah.
Okay.
And I think
Okay.
Malloy says that he didn't put her name in, that the Talamasca put her name in. The
I was gonna-
Amsterdam Mother House.
I was going to ask if any of you have read the Talamasca version of the interview, because I think it's posted somewhere
No.
online that you can actually read it.
Whoa, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's
Yeah.
This is the
awesome,
deep dive
I
yeah.
have
here.
not read.
Tell
Well,
us
see,
about
here's
it,
the thing. I
Billy.
have not read it yet. I just know it
Next
exists. I just know it exists. Now I'm gonna have to
Tease us
read it
with this
because I mentioned
information.
it. So, but yeah.
We all will. That's so cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like the cameo with Daniel Malloy. I thought it was fun. I love seeing his character. And then the Anna Loomis, I feel like we just need to remember that name. I get a feeling it's going to pop up in other areas because she was Talamasca and then did something to get have to go into hiding. But I'm interested in that. So, what did you guys think that the Amsterdam Mother House released interview? I know we kind of heard about that, but I guess I forgot. Like,
Yeah, they mentioned
the
it at the
Sis
end
2, yeah.
of season 2 that's
Yeah.
how it got published was through the Talamasca because he took it to many publishers,
Yeah.
right, Billy? If I'm remembering correctly, Malloy took it to several
Mhm.
publishers and they wouldn't publish it, but it got published through
Yes, but
the
they had
means of the
a lot of
Talamasca.
edits that they wanted to put on there.
Yeah.
And they
Mhm,
used the
many.
interview as a sort of like, you know how the mafia cleans money through like car washes and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They kind of did that with some of their affairs, like with making Anna Loomis
Oh,
killed by Louis. They kind of did that on purpose,
that's
so
smart.
probably resolve like missing persons cases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they used the
that's
book.
smart.
Yeah, they used it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I'm sure they published it in the way that Anne kind of intended the book to be in the series where everyone considers it to be a work of fiction,
Because
not
there's
actual
he also
fact.
gets chastised by that journalist at the end of season 2, where he's
Yes.
like, "You are like the best journalist out there, and you write a book, a fake interview with a vampire book, and completely not realizing that Daniel is now an immortal, but they could rip his throat out."
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's so interesting. Yeah, and I like the idea of them doing it to cover up things within the supernatural community too.
right.
I'm just with everything with like the great conversion and everything that was in the background of the first 2 seasons of Interview. I'm so fascinated. Nothing this organization does is by accident or like I'm so curious. I mean, I get a feeling we'll find out about it in the Vampire
Mhm.
Lestat more. But yeah, I'm interested to know, and I had totally forgotten about that until I watched this episode. I'm like, what manipulation are they trying to do other than the supernatural community, who's
Right.
sounds like angry about it?
And it's like the episode name, We
Yeah.
Watch and We Are Always There, which is not the actual tagline in the books. What is it, Billy? It's We Watch and We're Always. It's not that we were always there. It's some other
Close, but-
tagline.
Great question.
But they are
Yes.
supposed to observe
Right.
Not
and
interfere.
never
Yeah.
participate.
Yeah.
But that's bullshit because as we know through the books,
Oh my
they
goodness.
always
Yeah, I need to find out more
interfere.
about that.
I am drawing a blank.
I am too. Because now everything's about the TV show.
Yeah.
So you're right
Oh,
that it's a
well-
little bit different.
It's okay.
Yes,
Yeah, it
we've
is.
got Billy
It
on
is.
the
We watch
case.
and we are always there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it? I feel like it wasn't. Okay. Yeah. I thought there was something that I thought their motto though is that they watch but they never interfere. Is that they claim that they never interfere, but just like in The Witcher, who said he doesn't get involved in human
Yeah.
affairs. He
Yeah.
always
and we
does.
watch and we are
course.
always there. It's
Okay.
from the book.
There we go. I was getting
Oh,
them
okay.
confused. Yeah,
They didn't
I
take
always get them
liberties.
confused with like the Watchers from Highlander when they're like, "We watch, we record, never
Mhm.
interfere."
Well, what about Helen, the other
Yeah,
main character of this episode? I really liked her
yeah.
character.
I found her fascinating. I mean, Elizabeth McGovern is a star. We all know that. Even from the start, you can see that she's manipulating Guy. Like she's playing a part. You can tell. He can
Hmm.
tell. It's very well done, and there's definitely a performative aspect to her interactions with Guy, and that is later confirmed by Burton when he tells Guy in a very like brazen way of if he's hiding under their protection is they're using you, they're lying to you.
Hmm.
And so it confirms for everyone like no, this isn't, she isn't as she seems, this benevolent maternal figure who's also really hot and just like
Hmm.
and just she's trying to be endearing, and it's just it in fact, you know, it worked for me because it's Elizabeth McGovern, but you can totally tell there's distance for her.
She kind
Yeah.
of gives off Viper vibes. Like
Yeah.
there's something kind of hypnotic about the way she acts and talks, and
Yes.
it's probably a tactic for her manipulation, but it just reminds me of
Mhm.
a snake. So
Yes, that's exactly what it's like. Her
Hmm.
eyes. Yes.
Yes, she's very cool, and apparently she's been involved with the
Mhm.
Talamasca for a very long time. She knows how to close her mind off to Guy. She's,
Mhm.
very well trained in how to deal with the supernatural. She's not even phased when a box containing an eyeball appears on her desk.
Oh, the worst surprise gift. Like, geez, what is this white elephant thing that got delivered to her?
And I do wonder if she is somehow familially
Mhm.
connected with Guy. I don't know. I just feel like
mhm.
he's her
Yeah.
special pet project that she hasn't really told
Yeah.
anyone about. She's kind of kept him, well, no, because the Talamasca has been paying his way. I wonder if he's only known to the New York mother house because I feel like they want him because maybe no one else knows about him and he's a little off the radar, off the
Yes.
You know
Talamasca's
what I
radar.
love? Well,
I
real
don't know. What do
quick,
you guys think?
sidebar, but I love how in this show the mother houses act as islands, kind of.
Mm.
Like they're part of the same organization, but everyone's
Hmm.
doing their own thing, and then sometimes their
Mhm.
interests can have conflict of interest, and it's kind of like
Mm.
I would say this loosely, like a gang fight sometimes, like
Yeah.
New York versus Amsterdam or New York versus London,
Mhm.
even though they're all part of the same organization. I really
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, the dynamics between them. I like how you compared it to like the islands and like these gangs between them because they're each trying to control each other. The internal dynamics are so different. And of course, if you have an organization that is built on essentially not trusting anyone, I mean, you build intelligence on all these people and all these creatures, and then you geographically isolate them, yeah, it's they're gonna start having this us versus them mentality. There's a whole bunch of
Hmm.
nerdy psychology stuff about it, but I like that they're bringing that in of like we don't trust this other house. We know something's wrong. They're the bad guys. We're the good guys, and we have to fix it.
Well, and then also, yes, they act like a
Hmm.
spy organization, but they also have like a deep state vibe for them,
Yes, they totally do.
you know?
Yeah.
They totally do.
So it could be whole, I guess they could be acting like nations,
Hmm.
proxy nations interacting with each other, even though they are part of the same organization. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested in guys'
Mhm.
telepathic powers or so
mhm.
telepathic. That means he can read minds. Yes. Okay. Because in every universe, there seems to be different
Mhm.
rules about things like, Stephen King has the shine, the
Mhm.
X-Men have the mutants. Everyone has a different set
Oh no, I can't
of
talk about that yet.
powers.
Sorry, wrong episode.
I know. I'm doing a lot of filtering
I
too.
know it's hard to catch. I really did like the part where Guy's in the church and he's overhearing someone's confession
Mhm.
in the confessional, and he's trying to block them out and not listen, and someone comes up and touches him on the shoulder and says, "It's not a
I
curse,
think that
it's a
was his
gift."
mom.
So I wonder who
I
that
thought it
person
was his
is.
mom,
You think?
but now that you're talking
think
about
that was
it, it
his
makes
mom?
me curious if it was Helen
Hmm.
or like someone from the Talamasca. Because now that you're talking about
Ah.
it, I thought it was his mom. Just such
Mm-hmm.
a quick cutaway. It could be someone else.
Yeah, it could be. And I just think that's really interesting because if you ever watch
Yes.
the show Legion, it has a really
Mhm.
interesting take on mind reading. And for the first probably half of the season, well, at least the first couple episodes of the season, you think that the lead character is mentally ill because he just keeps hearing voices in his head all the time, and it drives him a little bit crazy. And then until you realize he's actually a
Yes.
telepath. So it's interesting how they'll play with the different
Mhm.
psychic powers in here. And I'm kind of hoping they keep it to psychic powers. I hope they don't go into the Mayfair territory of creating teleportation portals and flying like Superman and everything. I realize our
Yes.
vampires can have some of those gifts, but I just don't want it to turn into a
Yeah.
superhero
Yeah.
spin-off, superhero,
Yeah, I
superpower,
Yeah.
agree.
supernatural
I'm
spin-off.
totally with you. Like even in Stephen King's works, the shine is meant to use is like an umbrella term for all these people who have different powers. Like Firestarter has the shine, and Carrie has the shine, but they all have their individual powers. They don't build off of them as
Hmm.
much. So I'm with you. You don't want to make them too
Yes.
powerful. These characters need to be vulnerable, or it's not fun.
Yes. Yeah. When they're too OP, it's like,
Right.
yeah, they can do anything. So why are we worried for their
Exactly.
safety? Do you have any more points, Sam, or do you want to
I do
bring
have
up a
some
point or two,
points.
Billy?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, one thing I love about the character Guy is that he definitely follows some of Anne Rice's motifs, character motifs. She
Mhm.
loves a rags to riches story. It's her favorite thing. And I think it's because she grew up poor herself. So Guy
Yeah.
kind of takes on a Merrick role where he's educated and groomed by the Talamasca, has
Mhm.
psychic powers, mysterious tragic past, and it stays aligned with those character motifs.
Mhm.
Poor orphan child becomes refined and groomed. It's very great expectations with a supernatural twist, which she has said in the past that she reads Great Expectations every year, or did every
Oh.
year. During around Christmas, I think it was.
Aw.
So this makes sense that
Hmm.
the main character of this show kind of follows that formula.
Yes.
I mean, Michael Curry followed that formula.
Mhm.
Merrick, obviously. I'm
Mhm.
trying to think which other character followed the Great Expectations formula.
Claudia.
Yeah,
I
kinda,
mean, like,
yeah.
poor orphan child that then was this
Yeah,
rich lifestyle, tragic past. She
yeah.
wasn't psychic. Well,
No, she was
kinda, just
vampire, so I
Louis.
guess.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of love that a lot about the story because
Mhm.
these are the elements for me that make a story distinctly Anne Rice. And that is the one
Mm.
thing that I always look for with these adaptations is are there any elements that are distinctly Anne Rice? This is one of those
Mm.
elements.
Yes. Yeah,
Hmm.
good catch. That's awesome. I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah, I just hope he's not
Oh my
our
God.
replacement
No.
Merrick. I'm hoping maybe
I
along the
would
way
Yes.
love a
we'll
Merrick.
actually get Merrick because she's
Yeah, and
such an
Merrick's
interesting
older,
character.
right? And for most of the time he's in the novels, I always imagined him like 40, 50 years old.
Merrick's the Mayfair cousin.
Merrick
She's
is
like
a
a voodoo
mhm,
priestess. Yeah.
Oh,
a
Psychic.
I'm
witch.
probably getting that
Yes.
confused with another character then. Nope, different person. Yes, Marius,
Marius, are you
thank you.
thinking maybe
Which
Marius?
who we're I'm guessing gonna be seeing in Vampire Lestat. Yes. I
You
know, we're
definitely are. He's been
and that fits
cast.
the age range in my brain. Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I love the actor
Whoops.
who's going to play him too, because he plays various vampires in different
Oh, yeah.
movies and stuff. He
Yeah.
was in,
Yep.
he was, and then
He
he was
Yeah, he
also
was
was.
in
in,
Twilight.
what was it, not a Vampire Apocalypse, Van Helsing or Helsing or whatever it
Mhm.
was.
He's also in Vikings.
Not the one with Hugh Grant,
No,
was he?
it was a TV show.
No, I don't think he was in that one. I don't know
It's a
which Van
TV
Helsing you're talking
show.
about then.
where there's a vampire
With the daughter.
apocalypse. Yeah, and
Okay.
she like this woman goes through like a weird comatose state and then wakes up after the vampires take over, and he's a character in that TV show. I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah. That Van Helsing's descendant.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Nice. I think we should talk about the Burton of it all.
Yes.
Because that's a standout moment in the show when Helen takes Guy to see Burton just to prove that what she's talking about is not bullshit. Because she says you will not understand it until you actually meet one of these creatures. So she takes him to see Burton the vampire, who's staying at the Dakota in the penthouse. Apparently,
I
what you
loved
guys think of
him.
Burton?
Yeah, I loved him.
I've already
Also, I want to
mentioned what I
mention
thought.
one thing about his interaction with Guy. Burton does the whole freeze the room thing
Mhm.
that the vampires have done, and Guy is immune to that, which surprises
Yeah, that's a good
Burton.
point.
I wondered, is it Guy? Okay, so what do you think? Is it Guy who excluded? I'm sorry, is it Burton who excluded Guy from his mental manipulation, or is it because Guy has the
I
power
think it's Guy
to
has the power because
withstand
Burton
it?
seemed
Do you
surprised that
think?
he wasn't frozen.
Mm, interesting.
And
Okay.
they did like a
Okay, I'll have
psychic
to go
tug of
back
war
that and see
until
that.
Burton overcame him, and then he was on the
Mhm.
ledge outside the
Yes.
building. And he's like,
Yes.
don't, he basically is like, don't try that again, or something like that.
Yeah. That's such an interesting
Hmm.
point. Yeah, I'm so fascinated by these characters, and when they first introduced him, and he comes out and he's just like very almost like a character, a caricature of a vampire, and he's coming out and he's performative, he's over the top,
Hmm.
and you know, and you only realize that later, when he breaks his act to talk with Guy, but he's acting out his role with Helen. He's affable, gregarious, grateful, funny, joking, lighthearted, and then you see this switch because his one-on-one time with Guy, that's who he
Hmm.
genuinely is. And that's a bit of his personality too, but he's putting on an act for the spies that he's hiding with. And
Yes.
yeah, like
Mhm.
He acts
it's
the
he's giving
dandy
them
for
what they
sure.
expect. And it's fascinating because I'm like, well, okay, I have so many questions now. Like, like, wait, who are you hiding from that they're protecting you from? Because that's also like the underlying message I got from it. Like, why would you hide with the Talamasca unless you were running from probably another supernatural creature like a vampire that maybe you made upset? And he like he also takes a lot of bravery to speak out so strongly against the Talamasca and to actively discourage Guy from going on this journey. And he seems like Helen says later, like, do you think he's a good person or a bad person underneath? He seems like a genuinely good person. So I don't know. This is my tinfoil hat theory: is that they use Jason Schwartzman because he is a performer from those movies. Of like, there's actually a deeper aspect to this character. We're going to give you a performance with someone you know really well. It's going to take you out of it, but that's kind of the point of his character. Who he actually is going to be hidden. And so I don't know. That's my tinfoil hat theory. He's probably just friends with the director, but like, I found that fascinating. I want more.
Well, that's a very friendly assessment. I think that's a good one, at least. I thought that they
That's
just used him for
probably
name
likely.
recognition because they need a big name on the
Oh,
marquee for the first episode. But also maybe he really likes vampires and he wanted to play a vampire just like Eric
yeah.
Bogosian has been
I think the
dying to
actor
play
did
a
say that.
vampire.
They called him and they're like, "Do you want to be a vampire?" And he's like, "When do you want me?" Um, and so one of the
Uh-huh.
things that's come up on Reddit, and like obviously no one has any answers, because this is all new material, like we've talked about, is that the marquee for him, when if you go on the website for like their different names, who the actors play, his name is covered up and it says Burton on it. So the theory is that he's actually a different vampire from the Immortal universe, and that's his cover is Burton. So I like that, and because he's the only character that has
Oh.
that. And so I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I kind of like that. And now I'm fascinated. I want to know more, even more than I did before. So yeah, I that was the standout of the episode for me. Just that switch. It wasn't the initial. I adored him, but that switch I found fascinating. And I have some of his quotes later on that resonated with me. That made me want to watch more of the episodes.
My one thing with him, I liked that whole scene. I liked him coming out playing the dandy, pretending to be this really like kind of laissez-faire kind of vampire, didn't really care what they were doing. He was just enjoying his time in his posh penthouse, and then getting real serious with Guy and taking him out on the ledge and showing him this is the danger you're facing, joining up with this crew. Like I loved all that. Still, I would have kind of preferred, as much as I like Schwartzman, I would have liked it to be an unknown actor just so that it wouldn't instantly kind of take me out of that. And also the one thing, and I don't know how far we'll get, because I know in the books that there are lots of immortals that have lots of different powers, but I've always felt like whenever I'm watching a supernatural show, when we start throwing in way too many powers and way too many supernaturals with lots of powers, I think it just starts to water down the power of some of our main characters, like Lestat, like, you know, some of the elder immortals we're going to be getting later. I'm like, I don't want them all to be so powerful, you know. I want them, obviously we know in the books, if you get blood from a very powerful vampire, you are more powerful. But I just don't want everyone being able to fly, and everyone being able to stop the room, and everyone being like we have to have some vampires who trump other
so
vampires.
That kind of fits into my theory that he is way older than he admitted. Like that's what I thought when I saw him flying, and I'm like, doesn't it take you like, I know it, I think it's like, isn't it 500 years to become more immune to the sunlight?
Well,
I want to say it takes a
he
while
mentions
to fly.
he mentions how long ago he was turned into a vampire in the episode, and I kind of did the math, and he is about 500 years old. So,
Oh, because I thought he said I'm 39. Oh yeah,
so he's older than
he's older than
Lestat
Lestat.
even.
It's like I'm 39 or 384. And so I'm like, I think you're older.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're Armand age.
And I
based on
also
how
agree with
wise you are.
I agree with you, Laura, because the thing about okay, I am also studying writing in college. So it's kind of like it's kind of like moving the curtain aside and seeing the wizard pressing the buttons and turning the knobs. You kind of know how a story is supposed to be written. And one of the big things about a story is that there's supposed to be irony in it. It's supposed to be a big part of the narrative. When you give a character too much power, it makes it harder to create irony for them. And so I agree with you. I feel like there should be limited powers. Only certain people have certain powers, that kind of thing. Because then if everyone's super powered, then there's not going to be much of a chance for irony, and the story's going to be very bland.
Yep, absolutely. That's a great point. Absolutely. Yes,
I agree.
yeah, very much
good way
so.
of describing it. Let's see. I'm going through some of my stuff. Yeah, I think we've already discussed that, you know, this is a good way of pushing the immortal universe without having, you know, the Bible of Anne sitting here next to us, like comparing it to, like we had with Mayfair Witches. But I did think we did describe in our wrap up podcast about that, Billie, about how interview diverges from the from the source material in a good way, whereas Mayfair did not. And I think that we can get a little bit of that with this. I'm hoping that they can, obviously they don't have a lot to build off of. The Talamasca, I guess in Mayfair Witches, it's pretty prevalent, and I don't know how prevalent they are in the later books, Billie, of the Vampire Chronicles, but
yes,
they just kind of get peppered in here and there. So I think there's a lot of range that they can be real fluid with the storyline. But I'm hoping that we can get some of our Talamasca agents from the books, because I think that will be some great fan service. I mean, we're all already getting Raglan James in future episodes. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler.
Yeah.
I think he was like in one of the trailers. Yeah. So And Raglan is, of course, in Interview with the Vampire, but I'm hoping that we can get some Aaron, we can get some Sterling Oliver. I'd like to get some of those original characters. I would love to see a flashback to Stuart Townsend, who was mentioned in The Mayfair Witches, but we don't find out how he comes to his end in that show. So it would actually be fun to go back and get a little bit of a flashback to what happened to that character. Who, and these are all Talamasca agents. I know it doesn't matter to regular viewers, but for fans of the books, I think it would be nice to be able to see some of those characters, especially since they stole Aaron Leitner from Mayfair Witches, who was such a great character in those books.
I found them such fascinating characters, little bits and pieces we got from them, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I think when you talk about like Raglan James, the point about what he said, I'm gonna step over your point. What you have next to him in the
what he said?
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, wait, what he said, what I put. Oh yeah. No. He said the Talamasca is not great in protecting their agents, which is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like Raglan said, they're either dead or undead.
To me, I'm so glad like you have that note, because that totally stood out to me watching the first episode. I'm like, okay, so you're sending in regular humans against vampires, ghosts, demons. How do they protect themselves? And we've seen from Soledad Marcel, they don't. And it's just why, like, I know it fits with the organization as we come to see, like, they are disposable to this organization. They're not going to give you weapons.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I remember watching it because I'm a fan of Supernatural. I'm a fan of Buffy. I'm like, wow, you guys gave them nothing. Like they're just like Russian rouletting their lives every night or day working with this organization. I was very much struck by that, of like, whoa, that is a tough organization with apparently a really good life insurance policy. Because the odds of you surviving to retirement are really low.
And of course, they're supposed to be like the supernatural version of the CIA or MI6, which are, high risk kind of professions. But they do have, many of them have the added advantage of some sort of psychic powers.
Guns,
so
stakes.
That in some ways is supposed to help them. But I guess we'll see how well the Talamasca is able to aid their agents as the show goes on. Anything else we haven't covered in this episode? Any big... Oh, well, I guess at the end we do get our beloved curmudgeon of a reporter, Daniel Malloy. What do you guys think about that
and that
scene?
He is integral to Guy finding a bit more about his past and how the Talamasca function, because he's been on the short end of that stick.
Yeah. I'm interested to see who Daniel Malloy as a vampire is. We got like a little sneak peek, and I want to know more about this, where we saw that he was addicted to drugs, or at least really into drugs when he was younger, and now he's addicted to the strongest drug of all for him, feeding. And we saw him feed at the end of season 2, and we saw him tell Guy, like, you better get out of here before I do something I regret. I'm like, ooh, how are you as a vampire? I'm sure he's very similar, but I'm wondering if maybe more of his darker impulses will start to come out. So I like little bits and pieces of Eric Bogosian in there. So I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to see Eric Bogosian just anywhere. He's just...
he very much...
I think he is the curmudgeon
very much
that he likes to play. And he probably has the highest level sass of all of Interview with the Vampire. I don't know. He might be on level with Lestat, but he's got some real sass. But I just liked him being in the bookstore, being kind of a crank and inappropriate. He called the girl sweetheart. He's like, can we call people sweetheart nowadays?
And then he was like, who wants me to inside their covers or something, like, or inside their jackets? I was like, oh, he's funny.
Oh, yeah. And that I felt like that was a little bit of
Yes.
Interview with the
Very
Vampire
much so.
dialogue sneaking its way in there as well. And maybe it's a little bit of a tip off of how AMC might have a little more faith in this show than they did with the interview or Mayfair
Yeah.
Witches, because they actually let them use a major character for a crossover to this show, as opposed to Mayfair Witches, where they
That was
only
that was
let
the
them
greatest
borrow
cameo. It was supposed to be this big thing. And it was like he was barely there. Yeah.
Felix, the Gen Z emo vampire
Yeah.
rat wrangler for
That was
Lestat.
great.
Okay. Any other quotes or notes
Apparently,
that you
I'm
took
weirdly
from the show?
attracted to older silver fox vampires with charisma. I'm looking at you, Daniel Malloy and Jasper. I was like, thank you, Anne Rice and the makers of these shows. I appreciate it. Sorry.
Yes. I'm
And
down.
then-
I'm with you.
right? I was like, oh,
I'll take those silver
charming. Yeah,
foxes.
okay. Oh.
I mean, they are around my age group, so
there you go. Hey, they're really
appropriate
tasty
for me.
And then Burton's quotes were just, especially on rewatch, it drew me into the show. Of like his quotes, particularly where he says it's very dangerous to have a gift yet not understand its power. Your mind is a two-way street, which I hadn't thought about. And that is something I think about even when I'm watching it. Welcome to Derry. They have someone with telepathic powers, and we see that happen too. Like spoilers for that. That yeah, when you're a telepath or a psychic, you might be opening the door to the other person, and they might be better at it. Which I thought was a nice twist. And this one where he's, the guy is struggling out on the ledge, and he goes, "For a mortal, you are remarkable. But hear me well, friend. My previous associates won't appreciate you as I do. They won't play nice. They will try to bend you and mold you and take you." Which sound oddly sexy to me too. I just wanted them to kiss. I thought he had a lot of like chemistry with Burton as well. So I'm like, and no, okay.
And that makes me think about Lestat talking to Claudia as well. He's like, the European vampires won't be nice to you.
He was right.
Billie, do you have any other notes? Anything else you wanted
So
to
as
mention?
I was analyzing it, I seem to notice that the Talamasca seem to function like a cult. Guy's abilities have him portrayed as like a mystery religion trope. He's like a seer or an oracle, and he's treated like a superpower. This seems a little contradictory to how the Talamasca portrayed in the Mayfair Witches, just a bit. There's a slight inconsistency there, but I mean, I guess it's forgivable. And then there was a quote I can't remember who said it, but I remember it. It goes, "If it's unusual, maybe the problem is with what's usual." And I don't know, I like that. That's really
Yeah, that was a good one. Was it Helen?
I think so.
I have to
Yeah,
go
I think
back
it
and
was
see
her.
now.
Probably Helen. Yeah.
I think the only thing that I observed and kind of took note of, like after watching it, was his interview with the law firm. He starts to listen in on them, and the one guy, he said there's an older gentleman, a man, and a younger man and a younger woman interviewing with him. I didn't get their names, but the younger guy kind of thinks in his head, don't just give up, just don't do that. And he takes that, and that's where he pushes back, tells him that he's going to be the hardest working guy in the office, he's not going to be at the club, he doesn't come from money, all of this stuff. And then later on, the guy comes into the restroom with him, and he tells him, "Dude, that's what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to push back. I wanted you to show some spine." And I've heard a lot of people on the internet calling this guy a douchebag, and he probably is, because he probably does come from money and he works in this law firm. But it actually seems like he's advocating for Guy, like he's trying to be there for Guy. So I don't know if this guy's even going to be featured much more in this season.
More, but not a big line.
I kind of felt like he was actually trying to help him a little bit. I
thought he was flirting with Guy too. I don't know. It's an Anne Rice TV series.
After watching Interview, you just think
I
everyone's
know. I was like,
everyone. Everyone wants to sleep
you
with
just want everyone to
everyone.
pause and have a makeout session before the story
Right?
continues.
Exactly. What platonic. This is Anne Rice. They're all flirting with each other. That's what I kind of thought his enthusiasm was a little bit, because he is very one-dimensional in this scene. He is suddenly with this law firm and then
Yes.
super excited that that guy has the job. I'm like, do you know him?
At the urinal of all places. So
Yeah, right. It got really close.
That's where all guy conversations happen, isn't it? Right?
well, in my world, if
Not
you're having a conversation at a
You're just
urinal, there's a
standing
different
there.
conversation going on.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, this is very intimate.
Well, I think that's about it. Thought we'd move on to just a couple of media recommendations, if you have any. We usually do podcast recommendations, but I thought I'd just open it up to all media that you've been real interested in lately. So why don't you take it away, Sam?
I've been following what's on tonight, and they're covering It Welcome to Derry, which, I mean, there's a little bit of a
Woot woot.
crossover with the supernatural and stuff, and I would love to see a crossover between It Welcome to Derry and the Talamasca. I think that'd be fascinating. Guy has the shine, let's go. And then the killer clowns with the vampires, I think that'd be kind of cool, but that's just in my brain. And then Dinner with Her is a phenomenal podcast series if no one's listened to it. It's really, really good.
Excellent. Yeah, I haven't been able to listen to a whole lot of podcasts because I've been reading a lot of or listening to a lot of audiobooks this summer, but both of those podcasts are on the Pirate Core network, which is what you're listening to now if you didn't know. So check them out. What about you,
I've been
Billy?
so bad. I haven't had a chance to really listen to any podcasts or anything recently, but I have been heavily recommended to watch this show called The Beast Within, which is on Netflix, and it's about a writer going through some nonsense. So I will recommend that because everyone says it's so wonderful, and maybe we will do a series on it. If I feel so enthusiastic about it, I might say something about it in the chat and be like, let's do a couple episodes on this show.
Awesome.
So, like I said, this is my gothic romance summer. I think after watching Nosferatu, Billy, I've just been like trying to steep knees deep into some gothic romance and gothic stuff. So, first of all, I'm going to recommend Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which came out recently on Netflix. It was amazing. I am a big Guillermo del Toro fan. I've watched him ever since I saw Devil's Backbone way back in early 90s probably, and I love all of his movies. I really haven't seen his shows, but I'm gonna recommend his movies. Even Troll Hunter, the animated series, great. But anyhow, Frankenstein was great, and I think Mark has mentioned that he and Mandy are going to cover it for Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. So keep an eye out for that. And if you want to send in any feedback about that, I'm sure he'll post something to Facebook too. But I'll also let you know how to contact us in the closing here on how to contact us. Excellent movie. I'll definitely be sending in some feedback for that. I also listened to recently to Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Shirley Jackson is an icon, just like Mary Shelley in the horror genre. She wrote Haunting of Hill House, which I'm currently going through right now. But We Have Always Lived in the Castle is a lesser known book of hers, and it's really great. I really love it, and I recommend it. And I think there is a show on Netflix with our favorite actress, Alexandria Daddario.
Yes.
Awesome.
Who plays Rowan Mayfair on the Mayfair Witches. And I have not seen that yet, but I am going to watch it. And it also features Vera Farmiga's little sister, whose name I don't know, but she's a great actress because she was also in The Nun.
Oh yeah.
In the Conjuring series, she plays the young nun in the movie The Nun. And my last recommendation will be Panels to Pixels and TV Podcast Industries. They both covered the Sandman series, which was a huge part of my late teens into early 20s. I read the entire Sandman comic book series, and Netflix did 2 seasons of a really great TV adaptation of that comic book, and both are family here in Panels to Pixels with Jamie and Mark, and TV Podcast Industries, which is produced by our friend Derek and his husband John, do a really excellent coverage of that series. So that's what I've been listening to recently.
Yes.
And now, as always, we would like for everyone in the Pirate Core Entertainment group to send us feedback. Check out our website at Pirate Core Entertainment. Wait, that is our website. Did I write it down here? I don't know. You can cut that out, Mark. But if not, check out our Facebook page. We are at facebook.com/AdrenalineCinemaPodcast, where you can send in that feedback for Frankenstein if you have recently watched it and would like to drop us a line. We have okay, these are other podcasts. I'm sorry, it's been a while. I've been on hiatus. Panels to Pixels, where our Pirate Core founder Mark and Steve cover comics to TV adaptations, such as various Marvel series, Sandman, Peacemaker, and currently Gen V.
I was gonna hit in their theme fully because I was like, oh, she's doing a lot of talking. I should probably take over. It's okay. So we also have what's on tonight. Pirate Core hosts Becky and Mandy cover shows that are currently buzzing on their radar, such as What We Do in the Shadows, The Pit, Dexter Resurrection, and currently the HBO series It, Welcome to Derry, as Sam mentioned.
And Sam, since you listened to Dinner for Her, why don't you cover that one?
And Dinner for Her, Mandy and co-hosts feature spotlights on women of importance who you may not be entirely familiar with. They have covered historic women of note, such as Muriel Siebert, Dr. Maria Montessori, Ida B. Wells Barnett, and Mary Wollstonecraft. Sorry.
Shelley. I meant to throw Shelley in there, who is the writer of Frankenstein, and they will be covering that on their Frankenstein coverage.
Oh, Mary Shelley, she's a wild woman. I adore her. The more I find out about her life, the more I want to know more. I'm like,
she is the OG goth girl.
So cool.
When I'm dating, I always throw the line of, will you let me keep your heart in my writing desk bit to people? And whoever says yes, I'm going to marry. So
there you go. That's a great puzzle. There you go.
Whoever says yes.
Did you watch Frankenstein?
I
Billie,
did.
you
I
see
saw
it yet?
Last Friday.
Oh yeah, I'm going to give a little spoiler, but the part where Frankenstein is reading Frankenstein, the creature, sorry, not
the monster,
the scientist.
The, monster.
the creature reads Ozymandias, her husband's poem. It's beautiful. Okay. Sorry, I spoiled you.
I love that we're people who find the human and the vampire, and we're like, the Frankenstein creature, also endearing. As does Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, there's a term for it. I believe it's like monster fuckers. We love the creatures
because they have more emotional intelligence.
So that is the roundup of our Pirate Core family. Thank you guys. And thank you, Sam, for joining us tonight. And Sam might be joining us for more episodes.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun. You two are such rock stars, and you guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
We loved having you.
The more, the merrier.
And if you want to submit feedback for ACP Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, go to facebook.com/Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. There you will find images of the topics that we cover and leave a comment within the threads so that we can read them on the next episode we record.
You can also email us at AdrenalineCinemaPodcast@gmail.com. You can send a regular email there, or you can just record your thoughts as a recording, and we will pop that in the podcast as we record to include you in the conversation. Plus, try to answer any questions you may have.
If you subscribe on Apple Podcasts and there is a review available, please leave us a review if you can. It always helps us to get noticed. Give us a nice 5-star. That would be lovely. You can also tell a friend, since word of mouth is always the best way you can tell them where we can be heard, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Deezer, or whatever podcast player of choice is out there we can be found on. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to Sam. Thanks to Billie. Thanks to all of us for getting together to discuss this first episode of Talamasca. Next week, we'll be back with Season 1, Episode 2, A Wilderness of Mirrors. And as always,
Thanks for listening.
thanks for listening. Bye.